I've been struggling so much. Leave the classroom whenever he wants. It's a constant mental battle, honestly. I had a sub last Friday and I had to leave right after school on Thursday, so I had no time to prep anything. I'm very nervous for what the sub note is going to say. I was starting to get more behaviors last week, and I think my problem is that I fixate so much on one child that it feels like I'm not doing what I could be doing. But when I step back and look at my whole class, the majority of them have that initiative and that motivation to learn. But again, I fixate, and the behaviors that I was getting last week and the progress that I was starting to see slow down with some of my kids, it really made me question how I'm doing. I'll be honest with you, I feel like I've been struggling so much. I haven't been recording for the past 2 weeks. I just felt like I couldn't get everything together for myself. There's a lot to catch you guys up on what I've been doing inside of the classroom. Even over the weekend, I was trying to piece together what I was going to do this week. We're switching focus standards. This week, we're starting to introduce character, setting, plot, and author message. Because it's a whole new standard, it feels like back to square one, where I'm trying to figure out what the best way to teach is, on top of already feeling like I'm losing classroom management. Even by the way I'm talking right now, it sounds like I'm a mess. I'm feeling so anxious about this week. Trying to remind myself that I'm a first year teacher, and one of my friends told me that it's literally like giving birth to a baby and you have no idea what to do and you're trying to figure it out. But this time I have 21 babies. I'm someone who has to talk about how they're feeling to get the thoughts out of their mind. Another person told me that it's literally only been a month of school and I'm expecting so much progress, which is an unfair expectation for them. And it's even more unfair for my kids that are doing well that I'm not acknowledging within myself because I'm so fixated on the ones that are having a hard time. It's an hour before school. I have my schedule for what I'm teaching. Don't know how I'm gonna execute it. Let's go see what these sub notes say. Alright, back into my classroom. Let's see what they said. I love how subs like do this too, when they organize everything. I used to be a sub. When I was making the sub plans, I was like, what are the things that I found useful that I could help my sub out? I said that the sub couldn't get any of these, and he didn't. I was hoping that he would, because I don't even like Skittles. This is a very well-behaved and great class. There were a lot of helpful students that made the day go by so smoothly. Thank you to these students, 1, 2, 3. Most of the students knew exactly what they needed to do and helped those who needed it. Oh, that's so great. I feel like crying. The day went by well except for 2 students, and then I left a section for star students who will get a prize. That's so great that he thinks that they're well behaved. I love that he mentioned they were able to help him with the whole schedule and routine without me there, because the biggest thing is, when you're a teacher, you want your students to be able to run the classroom themselves when you're not there. That made me feel a lot better. The week hasn't started, and it's a great one so far. I need to grade these spelling tests too, because they come home on Mondays for them to correct. Oh wait, he graded them for me? Oh my gosh. I didn't even put that in the plans. That's good. I'm having this sub back if he wants to come back. He didn't even leave his phone number though. I have a meeting. Oh yeah, you have a meeting today. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about that. That would have been bad. I forgot to mention that during one of the days within this past 2 weeks, we were doing Go Noodle and my duck jar broke. I was so sad because when I pull out their sticks, I call them Lucky Duckies. I had to replace it with this boring cup. But I went home this weekend, and when I bought my duck jar, I actually went with my sister and she wanted one too. So she gave me hers, and now I can finally feel like complete again. When I pick out sticks, I say lucky ducky, and that's their cue to wrap up their conversation. Now that it's back, they're gonna be so excited, and they're gonna probably wonder how I got another one. If this one breaks, I'm done for. Because there's no way I can find that anywhere else. I bought that at Five Below. They always have new things coming out, but I never see old stuff get restocked. Friday is our art day. I had like this, my teacher's missing activity. Look at the student. She said, I think she's at home sleeping. The morning is going pretty well so far. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is my teaching. I was teaching about characters today. With the whole teaching process where you model structure and then do a final check for independent work, the modeling takes like 5 to 10 minutes and then the structured practice takes the rest of the time. I haven't made time for independent practice yet. For modeling, I read this story about the ant and the grasshopper. I modeled how to describe the ants. For structured, I should have talked about the grasshopper, but instead I had them read this short story in their shared reading book about this girl named Meg who adopts a dog that's messy, and the dad is like, who would adopt this dog? They were able to tell me that Meg is kind and responsible and gave me reasons for it too. But I didn't get to independent work and I'm struggling to get to that. At the same time, this is all new to them this year. So I'm planning to spend a second day on this, especially because at this school, we have this graphic organizer where they're talking about character setting, problem and solution, and author's message. Right before recess, we were working on prepositions because I want my students to be able to expand their sentences. So we came up with this. I held a ducky next to, like, on her nose, inside her nose. I pretended to eat it and then I told them to finish the sentence like the duck is. I think having a long weekend really does help so much with focusing on students who are learning rather than fixating on the ones who don't. It could also be because I'm trying to piece my own mind together on how to teach. After school is going to be very hectic and stressful for me. I have no concrete plans for the rest of the week, and because we're teaching a new standard, I'm really trying my best to figure out what the best way to teach it is. What's helpful is that I know this is my first year. I'm reminding myself that it's literally trial and error every day. I have to remind myself to be kind and realize that even if the students make minimal progress, like, I'm still doing my job and I'm still teaching and I'm still trying to get them to learn. I had coffee in the morning, so I'm not feeling hungry, but I probably should eat. I don't have dinner, so I probably just save my lunch for dinner. It's Thursday and I've been terrible at filming. I just can't get my head wrapped around everything that I need to plan and teach. Tuesday was one of my hardest days I've ever had. One of my students will just get out of his seat and leave the classroom whenever he wants. There's a lot of problems right now with, like, giving personal space to other students and keeping hands to ourselves. And then I have another student who constantly tries to distract others. He's surrounded by really responsible students and they're starting to get really irritated by him. It felt like everything was falling apart again. Our new focus standard for this month is retelling stories. It's so different when you know how to do it versus knowing how to teach it, especially for different groups of students and different levels. When I was teaching about characters, like, they couldn't get a grasp onto what character traits are. Like, they kept telling me what the characters are doing. Today I taught setting. That went pretty well, I'll be honest with you. This whole week I've been feeling like I don't know the proper way to release them for teaching, like the whole modeling, structured, independent. I'm trying to get different ideas from different teachers, and sometimes that overwhelms me too. Also, knowing which resources to use gets confusing. I also realized that switching my small groups has kind of held me back from really doing small groups. I have my whole group of independent students in one session and then my students who are dependent in another. The initial reason why I set it up like this was because I wanted to focus on phonics for ones who needed foundational skills, but now I'm realizing that I can't even pull any students for close intensive support, and so I'm going to switch it up for next week. There's a lot to do for next week. Math is also starting to get a little tricky too. We're working on 10 frames and 10 diagrams. I have this jumbo 10 frames that's been helpful. They basically have to decompose the second addend. Some of them are getting it, some of them are not getting it at all. Another thing is that report cards are coming within less than a month. During our new teacher meeting yesterday, they were talking about having enough data to really give a grade. That freaks me out because I feel like I don't have enough data. The progress that I notice is day to day and I don't track it, but now I really have to start taking notes. I have the mid and final assessments and I have samples of their writing that's done in class. I don't know if this is a problem with a lot of teachers or if I'm the problem. I think I'm just very ineffective when it comes to planning. After school, I will stay so long, but once I get home, like, I feel like I have nothing done. I'm spending so long to think about what I should be doing for the next day and how to teach it, but the way it all pans out is not as it should be for how much time I'm spending in here. It's hard to even, like, sit back and reflect on what to change because you're always working towards the next day. I had a parent-teacher conference after school today. It was a little unexpected. Well, Not really unexpected because she wanted to talk. It went well. It helps so much when parents are on board with wanting their child to do better in terms of behavior. I was planning to get so much done today. I ended up having a long conversation with my neighbor teacher. So I did not get much done. It is 7:30 right now and I'm putting together their packets for this new standard. I have to put all of these together because organization is such a big thing for me, especially when you have to pass out so many papers. There's so many little things teachers need to do. This is why this job feels endless. I'm constantly trying to figure out how to organize things within the classroom like these, and organizing lesson plans so that it makes sense to the students. A lot of the times I feel like I could be doing a better job at differentiating because I'm not seeing the progress that I want to see. What I'm doing whole class is important too. I feel like I need to make more time for small groups. My kids who don't know how to read, don't know how to spell, they're not going to get any of these standards. The gap is so big. It really sucks because even though I got hired and I have my credential, schools just kind of give you all these resources and then they throw you in and it's like, okay, teach. I don't know. I student taught in 4th grade. So 1st grade is a whole new thing to me. I'm honestly pretty thankful that I didn't get 4th grade because at the school, the opening was for 4th and 1st. It's a constant mental battle, honestly. I want to do so well, but I don't know how to get there. My neighbor teacher keeps telling me to, like, you have a goal that's far away. Take those little steps to get there. Don't worry about, like, meeting those high expectations. Comparison will be the thing that kills me. And I haven't really been comparing myself to the other teachers. I'm kind of looking to see, like, I know I could be doing better because the resources are there. I know that my test scores won't be as high as the others, but I am thinking, like, how do they really analyze student work to meet the students where they are? That's one of the most important parts about teaching. They're not going to learn unless you're teaching them the way that they absorb information. It feels like there's never enough time in the day. I am teaching minute to minute, kind of going on a rant. And I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just been very hard for me. Another thing to worry about, I have an observation in a month or less than a month. I'm literally here 12 hours each day and I don't feel like I get much done for the time that I'm here. I don't think my brain operates the way that a teacher should. What's keeping me afloat is knowing that I'm actually teaching something and that half my class really is learning. But it's the other half where it's like, how can I get this through to you? How can I teach it a different way? How can I put it so that it makes sense to you? I think my biggest weakness is knowing how to break things down or scaffold more. That's been my teaching lately.